One of the core features of internet abuse is the ability to crowdsource a witch hunt. What does it mean to crowdsource a witch hunt? So it has a bunch of features which are each important. I'd like to point out in this short conversation and in the following one some of the salient features. Number one, generally in a witch hunt there are multiple accusers. Now, of course, today we don't call it witch. On the internet we often throw around psychological jargon. So for example, I've had my former wife, who I went through a legitimate and beautiful process of counseling with when we separated. We separated and divorced because I fell in love with another woman. She asked me to remarry her. I refused. She was in a rage. And she's now used the internet, to hijack the victim narrative and diagnose me. So your former wife diagnoses you, but not in the therapy room, on the web. She doesn't call you a witch, she calls you a sociopath. It's a new form, of witch hunt. That's completely possible on the web. Number one. Number two, generally, when a leader is attacked, on the web, for example, sexual harassment, or a student on campus, for example, Emma Sulkowicz, the mattress girl who accused the young man, there are often multiple accusers. The assumption is, where there's smoke, there's fire. If there's multiple accusers, it must be true. That is one of the great erroneous assumptions. Sometimes, when there's smoke, there's fire. At other times, when there's smoke, there's a smoke bomb. Or, when there's smoke, there's an ember, meaning there's some kernel of something that's going on, but that ember is fanned into a flame by malice. And the way the story is actually told is fundamentally untrue, distorted, and filled with, intentionally twisted facts. So what I'd like to talk about in the next clip is, what does it mean when there's smoke, there's fire is not necessarily true? What does it mean when there's smoke, there's a smoke bomb? How do we actually understand why in dozens of cases the accusation is made not by one person, but by relatively large groups of people, 5, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. How does that happen? How does that phenomena happen? Let's take a look at it, if you're up for it, in the next clip.